My name is Lindsay Thurston. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Lindsay Living is where I love to share all my best home decor advice from DIYs, shopping trips, room makeovers, and more. And today we're doing some holiday decor DIYs. All of these projects are fairly cost-effective, limited materials, and easy to do at home. Most of the items I ordered online, a few I had to pick up in store. I'm so excited with how all these projects turned out, and I can't wait to walk you through the entire process. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been spending every second of my day on screens. From working at home and everything else in between, I feel like from the minute I get up in the morning to the minute I go to bed at night, I'm always staring at screens. It was so nice to just relax at the end of an evening, do some crafts this week for our holiday decor plans, and work with your hands. No, that's not what I wanted to say. All right, let's get into it. This first project was inspired by some beautiful white Christmas village houses that I saw on the Pottery Barn website. Then I found out that my mama actually ordered them, and oh my gosh, they are so beautiful. I have only seen pictures, but so gorgeous. She styled them so beautifully. So I happened to stumble upon a couple of super cheap light up houses. They're actually black metal from Target Dollars section, Dollar Spot, Dollar Bullseye's Playground. I can never figure out what they're calling that section these days, but anyways, I made my own version of this little simple Scandinavian inspired Christmas village. Here's how I did it. These little houses caught my eye immediately when I saw them in the dollar section at Target. They were just $5 each, so I picked up 3. They've got these beautiful fairy lights inside that are powered by 3 AAA batteries. So I'm gonna start by pulling that element out of the bottom. It's pretty easy. You just fold back those metal tabs, gently pull it out, careful to remove all of the light strings, and set that aside. Don't forget to pick up some AAA batteries so that you can power these up once they dry. Remove the tag, and time to bring in the clay. I thought about using a terracotta color, but instead I went with this plain white DOS air dry molding clay. So I'm going to use a quick little string to pull this out. Pretty easy. Just peel back the wrapping. Take a string of some sort. I just used some extra twine that I'm using for a project. Pull it down through the clay. That's the easiest way to pull off a chunk. And then make sure to put the part that you're not using back in an airtight container so it doesn't dry out. So you can see I just pulled out a little bit of clay at a time, gently pressing it onto the surface of these metal houses. Really experimenting on this first house to see what would work, and I was pleasantly surprised that the clay adhered to the metal very easily. You want to mostly use a pressing motion, spreading the clay around without spreading it too thin. Feel free to make it as thick and chunky as you want. I was still just kind of testing it out on this first one, of course, and very pleased with the results. All right, so once I finished the first side, I let it dry overnight just to test it. It came out great, beautiful, definitely adhered to the metal, nothing chipping off, and nice sort of powdery texture, which is a nice thing about this clay. I used some household items to get some surface textures that I wanted. Gently pressing that clay into every crevice. The chimney was a little tricky, but I got it in the end, especially with the help of my pencil. You don't need any special clay working tools to do this. Just look around your house for things that could be rolled across the surface. The Expo marker provided a flat surface when I needed to level an area out, and I really had fun with the pencil, as you can see, adding some texture to the roof line of this house. It almost makes a plaid pattern, and I was having some fun playing around with that. This is where that creativity really shines. Going over every surface is a little tedious, I'm not gonna lie about that, but honestly, as I've mentioned several times, it was just nice to work on a project, kind of bliss out, listen to some Christmas tunes. Good way to spend an afternoon. I liked using the pencil in this angled fashion on the roof line. It was kind of a cool thing to add some additional texture, playing around with different directions, and I really like how this side turned out. Now I used the little point of my pencil to gently scrape away any excess clay that builds up around the windows and really define those shapes so that when the light peeks out later when we display these, the light will glow coming from every window. You can also use the pencil to scrape away any excess clay on the bottom edge, which you can see me doing here. This was definitely a labor of love, going back, doing this several times, but it really paid off in the end, as you'll see. Quickly did that same process for the other two houses, and I was so pleased when I saw them all dry. Now it's time to reinstall that light element, gently pushing those wires back in. I used a flathead screwdriver to save my fingernails the trouble of pushing those tabs back in place. Make sure to search the house for the batteries, and now we're ready to display. So inspired by Scandinavian holiday decor. I've been pinning things for months on Pinterest. One thing I definitely plan to add to my tree this year was a natural wood bead garland. I thought I might be able to save a little bit of money making my own garland, and I didn't mind having a little bit of a mundane task to do at the end of a long, busy day. Plus, it was so satisfying when I finally put them on the tree. Alright, the first step was gathering a lot of wooden beads, and I found all the beads that I used for this project on Amazon. I grabbed 150 25mm beads for $17.99. I grabbed 120mm beads for just over $17, 116mm beads for $8.69, and 114mm beads for $8.39. I plan to make 9-foot strands, so each one would be 108 inches long, times 3 for the size of my tree. I added 10 inches of additional string on each end to create loops to attach to the tree, and I wanted to make sure to lay out the bead pattern that I was planning before I actually strung it, just to make sure that I had enough beads for what I was planning to do in the pattern. So the next step was pulling out the length of 128 inches times 3 for the 3 strands that I was making. Again, that's 9 foot long with 10 additional inches on each end to create those loops. So now I started pulling out beads, kind of playing around with them and patterns, figuring out what I wanted to do. And I decided on this kind of simple size up, size down, size up, size down, repeating pattern. Once I did that, I laid out full 12 inches of this pattern just so I could check and see how many of each bead would be needed per foot of the project, since I was doing 9 feet per strand. So again, pulling out the calculator, figuring out, okay, how many 25mm beads will that be? How many 20mm beads will that be? How many 16s, how many 14s, etc. And then doing the math across the entire project. Now, I could tell that my numbers were a bit off, but I was pretty set on this pattern, so I decided I'd just go for it, get that first strand complete, and then deal with the adding of additional beads to my Amazon cart later. I went ahead and taped the ends of my jute twine to ensure that they would easily slide through the holes in each bead, although the holes were plenty big enough that edge does fray a bit, and so the tape definitely prevents that, helping those beads to go on nice and smooth. So laying it out ahead of time, very quick to get that first foot down, and then once I got the hang of things, I was able to just grab each bead at the time that I needed it, stringing it on. I just listened to some Christmas music. I put actually a podcast on at one point while I was doing this, just enjoyed relaxing and stringing the beads to create this beautiful project. And it's kind of fun once you get in a zone, because all of a sudden you'll look down and notice how much progress you've made. And it was really fun to see this come together after thinking about it for so long. So finishing up the first strand here, knotting off the end. I like to just press my thumb down onto the bead to hold the knot close to the bead. I added another thicker jute twine on the end just by doing a quick double knot. That's gonna give me a couple strands to pull my loop through. From there, just a quick slip knot, and that should create the loop that will secure to a tree branch on your Christmas tree. All right, we're ready for some ornaments, and I have two Scandinavian inspired ornaments to share with you. The first one is beautiful snowy pine cones. These were super cost effective. Pine cones are virtually free if you have them around your home. A little bit of twine, a little bit of spray paint, a little bit of glitter, and presto, so beautiful. I love creating things using virtually no budget, and this project definitely fits into that category. First, I gathered all the pine cones I had around my house. Some purchased at stores, some gathered outside. Then I picked the 8 best that I thought would be perfect for this project, went ahead and primed them using my favorite Rust-Oleum white primer. I tried to brush on some paint that I had on hand because I was being a little lazy, didn't want to run out to the hardware store to pick up some spray paint. This proved to be particularly challenging, so spray paint it is. I'm going with Rust-Oleum Heirloom White. I'm going to use some clear matte top coat and Gorilla Hot Glue to secure the twine loop to hold this ornament onto the tree. Remember, this is an idea I just came up with and tried to execute, so we're really troubleshooting with you here. I had a hard time with this spray paint. I could tell some had better coverage than others. I picked 3 that looked the best, and I'm going to go back and give the rest another coat of spray paint. I put on some rubber gloves, put the pine cones in a box, and I'm spraying on some tacky glue spray adhesive through all those little crevices, splashing on some beautiful snowy white glitter that I found at Michael's. I'll link everything down below so you guys can find it. And look at that beautiful, fluffy, glittery, snowy texture that I was able to create here. I'm so excited about the results. That kind of hid a little bit of the painting errors that I was being a little picky about. Seal in the glitter with a coat of clear matte spray paint from Rust-Oleum. Create a quick slip knot for the loop, and I'll be using some Gorilla Hot Glue to secure this to the base of the pine cone, hanging it upside down. I think that's such a beautiful look on the Christmas tree. I'm able to hide that in this style of pine cone too, since it's a little lowered in the middle there. So that's pretty much it. Our last project is some snow-filled glass ornaments. These are super simple to make, very changeable to what you want to add to your tree. I was looking to add some more natural elements, a little bit more light and bright colors, so just plain white. I was able to find some cool faux branches that had a snowy effect. I also, of course, added in some glitter, and I'm so excited about the results. For this project, you'll need some clear glass or plastic ornaments. I found this set for $3 in the Target dollar section, and this set at Michael's for $7. I grabbed some faux branches, beautiful, snowy, glistening. These were from Michael's, also on sale. They were 60% off. I decided to go with the glass ornaments. I just felt like they were a little bit more upscale for what I was looking for. Pulled out the tops, cut off some of the snowy branches, and pushed them gently inside the glass ornaments. I love the texture as is, and I added several of these branches. I also added these gold ones as well. They almost felt like pine needles to me, as if they were like golden pine needles with little jewels on the ends that looked like snow. I was getting on a roll here, filling up, and then I got some creative ideas. I bought some tacky glue and glitter for another project, so I thought, why not just spray that tacky glue spray adhesive inside the glass ornament, pour in a generous amount of white snowy glitter, shake it up, and just as predicted, that snowy glitter stuck to the inside of the glass so beautifully. Now I'm going to take my Gorilla Hot Glue and doll up the little metal closure for this ornament. I just don't like that chrome silver, it just wasn't adding to my design. So I thought, why not take some hot glue and gently twirl this twine around this wrapping every little millimeter of space. This did take a little patience, I'm going to admit, and I did have to pull off some excess pieces of dried glue along the way, but I really, really love the final result. I go all the way around until I run out of space, clip the edge and fray it a little bit, tucking it underneath to hide that final finishing point, tuck it back in, and finished ornament. I love how natural it appears. For me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these DIYs and leave with some new creative ideas, maybe some DIY ideas of your own. And if you do, please let me know down in the comments what you make and what I should try making next. If you got value from today's video, please help me out by hitting that thumbs up. It lets me know you'd like to see more videos like this here on my channel. If you like videos like this, you'll probably like the next couple I have planned. I'll be decorating my way around this home, giving it a big holiday makeover, and I'll be taking you along on every step of the journey. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and that little notification bell will give you an alert every time I post a new video. Until next time, I challenge you to find one meaningful change you can make in your space this week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, my friends.